So let's say you're doing an iPad 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th generation screen repair and you accidentally tear this portion of the home button flex. What that means is you will lose Touch ID because the home button flex is paired to the motherboard. But I have good news. This cable is actually in two pieces. So if you tear this side of the flex, the long part, you can replace this part of the cable and get Touch ID working and the home button to click. So in today's video, I'm gonna walk you through how to do that. It's super simple. It's similar to an iPad charging port in that the two flexes lay on top of each other and you kind of solder over it. So let me walk you through that process. But first, I'm Jesse from BCC Board Repairs. Thanks a lot for joining us here on the channel. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also check out the links down below in the description because we have cool shirts like this, my new Facebook group, some other cool stuff. So let's go ahead and get started with the video. Okay, so real quick, let me just show you the home button flex itself. So here's the actual home button portion, the one that clicks, that has the Touch ID sensor. And then it's just a super long cable and it goes up. Now here, if you look closely, there's like a little tape or sticker, kind of hard to see. There's a sticker right here that is covering where the two flexes actually join together and solder together. So let's walk through how to actually separate these cables, and then we could solder on the new one. Here's my replacement cable. This is a replacement home button flex that we're gonna desolder and swap over the cable. So go ahead and look under the microscope. Okay, so here's the sticker I was talking about. Now the adhesive is pretty kind of strong. So if you just use some strong tweezers, not pointy ones, because then you could rip cable. Now keep in mind, this portion is the one you want to keep original. So if the home button flex tears here or anywhere on this side of the flex, you do have to repair the tear with jumpers. You do it on this side of the flex, the long part, then you don't have to do any jumpers. You just swap this flex. So let me get this sticker off. Now it's being a little stubborn here. Let me see. Let me do this. So I'm gonna put it on my board heater. This is my preheater for iPhone boards. And what I like to do is put the flex on here and press down. The heat will soften the adhesive. Where are my other tweezers? And then, because I don't want to burn my fingers, I'm going to use 2 sets of tweezers. And then, oh, here it is. Here's where it separates in the middle. Oh wait, it's right here. Here we go. All right, so it's the middle kind of folds down, and then the top flap folds over the whole cable, and it's like this. So there's the solder joints. That's where the two flexes meet. So let's get this sticker off so we can desolder it. And be careful, do not rip the flex if not necessary. All right, got this sticker off. Technically, I don't need it, but I'll try to reuse it. Try to make it look as OEM as possible. All right, so here's the back or the bottom, and here's the top. You see all these little squares? This is where you will need to solder. So what I like to do is tin these pads so that it's super easy to desolder, because when you're adding solder, it actually makes it easier to desolder. You would think it's counterintuitive, but it's not. All right, so I'm just gonna, oops, that's a lot of solder. That's fine. I'm gonna try to spread it across all the solder joints. And I'm using my Hakko micro pencil. Here you don't need that much heat. It's just a flex cable, so it doesn't you know, the heat doesn't sink heat sink away. What I'm gonna do now is, actually there's some adhesive here I need to clear, which is gone. And then let me see if it'll separate just through the preheater. So I'm gonna gently, no, it's not desoldering. So I'm gonna do this. You know, let me go on this side. So I'm gonna use my iron as to hold it and also separate the flex. You guys see how I'm pressing down and using my tweezers to kind of scoop it up, but I'm being real gentle. Don't want to damage the flex. Also, there's adhesive underneath that is making it a little more difficult. Oh, it's stuck. Actually, I should have probably softened the adhesive first. And there you go, it's disconnected. Now this long cable runs underneath pretty far down. So let's separate that as well. I'm gonna add some isopropyl alcohol and just be gentle. These flexes are real sensitive. And there you have it. So now you can see the two parts of the cable. So this is the main cable. This is what you want to keep original. And you can see let me clean off some of this adhesive. That's definitely going to be a problem when I try to put the other one on. And do it while it's still kind of warm, so the adhesive comes off easily. All right, I got most of it. Okay. Let me clean it. Some alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, 99%, and a kid's toothbrush. Flip it over. Let's clean up this side too. Then a little clean cloth to not only dry it, but also kind of absorb some of that dirt stuff, either like burnt flux or whatever it is. All right, so now this is basically ready to go. This is what it looks like by itself. Okay, so assume this is the bad cable, which I believe it is. So I'm actually fixing this for not a torn flex, but it just doesn't work. So I'm just trying to see if swapping the part I can swap fixes it. But this repair applies to basically anytime you have a torn flex on this portion of it. So as long as it's not on the home button part. So let me show you over here. So if this portion of the flex is torn, oftentimes either on this bend or here. Okay, so yeah, any part of this flex gets torn, you can replace it. So this is my replacement. You can see that it even has the blue stickers from like being a new home button. Now I did use this home button, the button, the actuator, for another repair. I'm going to use this as, now I'm going to use the flex part of it. Let me expose the solder joints. Now you got to be careful, some suppliers sell this cable as one piece. So it's an aftermarket cable, and this piece is like they just designed this for just one giant flex. So be careful with those. Those won't work for this scenario. They even faked the solder joints. So it's one flex, but they still put these fake solder joints for some reason. So that's something to be aware of. So let me get this long flex part desoldered. So step one is always flux. Anytime you're gonna solder, you have to use flux. That's just the name of the game. Now I don't know what kind of solder they use, so I'm just gonna add my own, hopefully to lower the melting temperature. The same process. Flux and solder. And then let's try it this way as well. So the heat from the bottom heater or the preheater is softening the adhesive. Although I feel some resistance here, something that's coming loose. So let me put some alcohol. All right, let me see what's going on here. Okay, I was just kind of stuck. Trying to make this a quick video, but it never turned out to be quick. But I do like to show the whole process so you guys can learn how to do this stuff. Notice a lot of YouTube videos, they'll just skip through a lot of steps. So let's just go through. I mean, I have to do it anyway, so might as well just record it. All right, so same process. Use the heat. Oh, look at that, it just came right off. So separates. So this is the aftermarket home button, which I don't need. I'll put that, you know, way off where I know for sure I won't mix them up. Because I'll be honest, one time I wasn't paying attention and I ended up resoldering back the same ripped cable just because I had kept them too close to each other, the broken one and the replacement one. So make sure stuff you know for sure you're not going to use, just put it in a different spot where you know you don't reach for stuff, because I put it right next to where I usually put the replacement stuff that I have, that I'm getting ready to use. Okay, so looks pretty clean. Okay, so here's the new cable and here's the original home button. Essentially what we got to do is line them up, solder it, and then we're done. And this is super simple. Now if you have trouble, well here, let me just show you guys. So get some Kapton tape. This is the heat resistant tape. It's like a gold color. I'll link this in the description, and also where I buy my home buttons. my bottom heater, all my tools. I actually have a page dedicated on my website where I list all the tools I use. So if you ever want to get the same stuff I use, you know where to go. All right, so I'm gonna put some Kapton tape like this, and so this is if you have trouble working on stuff that's constantly moving. I personally usually don't do this, but this is just for illustration. And then what we're gonna do is line this up. Now you will notice there's these little squares. They used to be gold, but when you run your iron over them, they'll turn silver because it has solder on them. So those line up with the little windows here. You guys see that? You gotta line up both sides. And right there, you guys see how it's lined up. And the nice thing about this is the pads are big enough that you don't have to be perfectly lined up. It'll still solder on pretty good. So then just kind of eyeball it as far as alignment. But add some flux, add a thin layer of flux here on the bottom. You don't want to do a lot, use your tweezers to grab a little bit. Remember, any soldering that happens needs some flux. That's just how the chemical reaction works. If you don't put flux, then the solder gets all weird and doesn't flow into position. So I'm just adding flux here. And it's good to keep it thin, that way it doesn't bubble too much and get too crazy. All right, and the same thing on the top of this one, because that's where your iron is physically going to be working on. Let me put a little bit. Also, if you're using rosin core solder wire, it also has essentially flux within the solder wire itself, so it makes things a lot easier. So check this out. So the bottom is the home button, the top is the flex. So if you just line it up like this and kind of scoot up, you'll see it'll line up. Oh, my tweezers. Oh, it moved. All right, so I'm gonna hold the flex. I'm looking for that little square to be lined up, and let's go ahead and try it. So I'm going to grab my iron and hit one of those solder joints. Then I'm going to hit this solder joint over here. And really I just need a few, and then I could do like a full, like an actual soldering job here. So the idea is you solder some anchor points to hold it in place, and then you have some like easy way to solder the rest. So I'm just gonna get a little bit more solder in my iron and then just kind of go through each one. Like that. Since it's just a flex, it's super easy to solder. So you don't even have to hold your iron for too long. Just quick little tap should flow the solder right through both flexes and make the connection between them. And that's pretty much it. Now just clean off this top layer. And there you have it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Does this look good? You think I could have done a better soldering job? Would love to hear your thoughts. Give me a rating from 1 to 10. 1 being is the worst, 10 being is the best. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you want, you can add that original sticker. Oh wait, look, check this out. So I ended up with this cable over the tape. So just be careful with that. So let me see how to get this off without ripping the flex. All right, cool. Got this off. And then I still have this sticker here, which went something like this. Oh wait, it's the other way. See, there's like a little slot here. That means it went like this actually. See the little flap? You want to get that like this. The little flap goes over. Actually, this side goes first, and then this side. And yeah, look at that. Like it came out of the factory line, probably. Okay, so look, I still have this sticker too. All right, there you go. No one's ever gonna know. All right, so there you have it. I just wanted to show you the actual soldering part. It's super easy to swap over the flex. Now, if you had an obvious torn flex, then swap it over and then test it. Test Touch ID, test the home button click. Also, I think that's pretty much all the functions it has. So really easy. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments. Once again, check out the links down below in the description for a shirt. If you get a shirt, tag me on Instagram or Facebook. I want to see what you guys are getting. Also, check out the new Facebook group. We're getting a lot of people joining recently, so that's really excited about that. So see you guys in the next one.